The rise of artificial companions. Real social skills are disappearing fast, and one of the biggest reasons actually sneaks up on people. It starts small. Someone watches the same streamer every night. Someone else follows an influencer who talks like a best friend. We even use apps for fast food to avoid speaking to someone to place an order. Then there are AI systems that answer instantly and never roll their eyes. These things feel safe, almost too safe. They give a cozy little bubble where nothing gets awkward and nobody disagrees. It feels like connection, but it's really a well-polished imitation. Artificial friends are everywhere now. They talk nonstop, they react on cue, and they never need anything back. That makes them easy to bond with. The brain is simple like that. Hear a voice, see a face, and it assumes something real is happening. But there is no shared space or real risk. It's all one-sided, like talking to a mirror that talks back to you. The more someone leans on these digital substitutes, the more real-life interaction starts to feel heavy, slow, even a little annoying. Real people don't auto-adjust to your mood. They don't pause perfectly. They don't respond like a script. Suddenly, human connection feels messy, and the fake version feels easier. By the time someone steps into real social life, their brain is confused. It wants the smooth version. It wants the easy version. And that's how real social skills start slipping away without anyone noticing. The overstimulation problem. Modern life runs at turbo speed, and most brains are doing their best to keep up. Videos flash by so fast the eyes barely blink. Posts reload like a slot machine. Messages drop in before the last one is even read. Everything moves so quickly that the brain starts expecting instant excitement all the time. But real conversations don't do that. They're slow, they wander, sometimes they stall out completely. That's where the trouble starts. A silent moment in a conversation used to be normal. Now people treat silence like a smoke alarm. One quiet beat and suddenly someone reaches for their phone like it's a life raft. The brain doesn't even try to stay present. It tries to escape the moment it feels bored. Overstimulation also makes reading people harder. Real expressions don't come with subtitles. Real tone isn't edited. Real pacing isn't trimmed down to a 7-second clip. Real people are complicated, and complicated takes patience. Here's the twist most people don't see coming. The brain gets so trained by fast content that normal human interaction feels too slow to enjoy. It's not that people forgot how to talk. It's that their brain is waiting for fireworks, and instead, it gets a candle. And that gap right there is where confidence starts quietly breaking down. Digital crowds, real isolation. People today can connect with thousands of others in seconds. Yet somehow, this is the loneliest generation ever measured. How is that even possible? Simple. Online crowds look like communities, but they don't act like them. A list of followers is not a circle of friends. A comment thread is not a real conversation. The brain can feel surrounded while living a completely isolated life. Scrolling through jokes, drama, news, or trending sounds makes someone feel like they belong to something. But none of it requires sharing, listening, or being vulnerable. Most people talk into the digital void and then wait for the internet to talk back.
Today I'm reacting to your Monday Night Raw hot takes.
That isn't connection, it's entertainment. The biggest danger is quiet but powerful. Digital crowds take the place of the real places where people used to connect. Parks, schools, churches, neighborhoods, even simple front porches. These used to be natural training grounds for social skills. Now most people spend their free time with a screen instead of with people. So the mind gets lots of noise, but none of the nourishment. Then, when the noise stops, suddenly the silence hits harder than it should. People aren't failing at connection, they're starving for it. They just don't realize it because the digital world tricks the brain into thinking it's full. The death of face-to-face practice. There was a time when social practice wasn't something people had to think about. Kids talked to neighbors. Teens hung out in person for hours. Adults bumped into each other everywhere.
I think it's endearing.
Oh, do you?
Real interaction happened constantly. Social skills stayed strong because they were used every day without effort. Now that daily practice is shrinking fast, and the brain loses whatever it doesn't repeat. Most communication isn't words, it's eye contact, tone, posture, small expressions, and timing. These things can only be learned by watching real people in real time. Screens remove almost all of that. Text has no face. Calls have no expression. Videos are edited and filtered until nothing natural is left. This leaves a lot of people feeling unsure in real conversations, not because something is wrong with them, but because their brain isn't getting the training it needs. Eye contact feels intimidating, tone feels confusing, pauses feel like mistakes, jokes fall flat because timing feels off. Confidence doesn't disappear overnight, it fades the same way unused muscles fade, slowly, quietly, and only noticeable once someone finally tries to use them again. Constant distraction and zero presence. Being present used to be the default way to live. If two people sat down together, they usually stayed in the moment without trying. Now, presence is almost a lost art. Phones buzz every few seconds. Notifications jump in like kids playing tag. Even when someone tries to pay attention, their brain is split between the person in front of them and the screen they keep checking. When someone looks at their phone during a conversation, even for a couple of seconds, the message is loud and clear. Something out there might be more interesting than the human being right here. That tiny moment chips away at trust more than most people realize. Distraction also wrecks the natural rhythm of talking. People lose their place mid-sentence. They forget what they were trying to say. They miss emotional cues. They answer with the wrong tone, all because their mind is half in the room and half online. This constant split creates awkwardness, and awkwardness creates anxiety. Soon, conversations feel stressful instead of natural, and when something feels stressful, people avoid it. Presence is rare now, but it's also the glue that makes real connection stick. Without it, social skills don't have room to grow. Comfort over connection. Human connection usually starts with a tiny bit of discomfort. Eye contact, saying hello, asking someone a question. Those little moments matter, but they're not always easy. Modern life makes escaping discomfort incredibly simple. Feeling awkward? Scroll? Feeling shy? Check notifications? Feeling unsure? Find a distraction. The brain learns to dodge discomfort like it's a snake in the driveway. At first, avoiding discomfort feels great. No awkward moments, no risk of rejection, no stress. But the more someone avoids discomfort, the weaker their tolerance gets. Soon, even simple social tasks feel like climbing a hill in flip-flops. People start believing they're naturally shy or bad with others, but the truth is usually simpler. They never get past the early discomfort because they escape it every time. Social confidence doesn't grow in perfect, polished moments. It grows in the messy ones.
Okay.
Comfort feels safe, but it quietly keeps people isolated. Real connection needs tiny risks. It needs effort. It needs people to stay in the moment even when it feels a little awkward. When comfort becomes the main goal, connection becomes the first thing to disappear. The collapse of shared worlds. Not long ago, people shared the same world. They watched the same shows, listened to the same music, knew the same stories, and talked about the same events. This made bonding easy. You didn't need to plan conversation topics. You already had common ground. Today, that shared world has cracked into a million tiny pieces. Everyone now lives inside their own custom digital universe. One person watches conspiracy videos, another binge watches cooking clips, someone else lives in gaming streams. Even the news people see is filtered differently. When everyone's world is different, conversations feel harder to start. Shared experiences are the spark that keeps social life alive. Inside jokes, memories, common interests, these things are disappearing. Even families can feel like strangers living under one roof, but in separate digital worlds. When the shared world breaks apart, so does the ease of connection. Without a common place to meet mentally, social moments feel forced. People don't know what to talk about, so they talk less. And less talking leads to weaker social skills. The skill you don't practice dies. Social skills are not magic. They are learned, repeated, and strengthened the same way any other skill grows. They fade when ignored and return when practiced. Most people today aren't broken or antisocial, they're simply out of practice. Life moved online, and the practice disappeared with it. The good news is that social skills can come back faster than people think. It starts small. Talk to someone in person instead of just texting. Put the phone away during a conversation. Sit with someone and let the silence exist without panicking. Don't pull your phone out at the dinner table. Order food without using an app. These tiny actions rebuild presence. Presence rebuilds connection, and connection rewires confidence. Talking to someone face to face does something a screen can't copy. The brain pays attention differently. It picks up tiny cues in the eyes, the voice, the body language, and even the pauses. These little moments are what make people feel close. Real connection needs real presence, even if it's just sitting across from someone with a cup of coffee and a slightly awkward smile. Even a simple conversation on the phone is better than a text because it forces the mind to slow down and actually listen. Texting is too fast and too edited. People rewrite their sentences, delete their jokes, and polish their replies until nothing real is left. A real voice carries things you can't type, like warmth, tone, emotion, and the kind of laugh that sounds worse out loud than it did in your head. These imperfect moments are what make social skills stronger. They remind the brain how to connect in ways no screen can replace. It also helps to put yourself in places where real people exist: parks, community events, small gatherings, churches, classes, or even simple meetups. Invite friends over or to lunch. The first few moments may feel awkward. That's normal. Awkward is how the skill grows. If this message hits close, there's a reason. People aren't losing their social skills because they're weak. They're losing them because the world changed faster than the brain could adapt. But skills return with use. Connection returns with attention. And if you want more videos that explain how modern life shapes the mind, consider subscribing. There's a lot more to uncover, and the next one goes even deeper.